So, as I hear you talk about playing with life, it truly is opening up this concept of reevaluating what's most important.
What's most important? Yep.
So, as we talk about this concept of goals, as we talk about this, I'd say it's a manufactured concept of what being an adult
Mm,
is. One of the things that I've recognized as I've gone through my journey over my 20 years plus of professional of corporate environment and now getting into my own space is this notion of discomfort is feedback.
mm,
If you are not feeling fully connected to where you are in life, to what you're experiencing on a daily basis, pay attention.
mhm.
That is the environment giving feedback. It's the equivalent in my mind now to putting your hand on a hot stove.
Yeah, I can
The
see that.
heat and the pain you feel is feedback. Imagine if you just ignored that for 30 years,
It's
right?
hard.
The damage you're doing to yourself,
Yep.
the desensitizing of that limb of your hand to be a trusted guide in the future has been compromised because we've not given ourselves the opportunity to say, "Oh shoot, that's hot.
Yeah.
Let me rethink how I go about this." And so
Mm,
I in a previous video I described my 20 years in corporate America as um, I wasn't settled. I never felt accepted. I wasn't um, I was on a path of success by the standards of the world,
yeah.
but internally I never felt like this was James. This was what I was supposed to be doing. So, or called to do. And I change that up a little bit because it's that calling. It's that feeling that I'm giving or sharing what has been given with me or using the experiences that I've had to truly transform myself
Mhm.
into that next version, James 2.0. I have it written on a board here in my home
Yeah.
that defines what this next version and iteration is. Gary, I would have never even thought like that, man. And it was the hand on the stove. I told myself that what I was feeling and experiencing and the internal turmoil I had was a lack of discipline.
Wait. No. Like peel the layers back on that. What do you mean?
So when as we go through life, and we encounter things that we may want to shy away from, we may want to quit early, we may want to hang it up because it doesn't necessarily fully align with what we want to do. We're taught you just want to quit.
Mm, mm.
That's a lack of discipline in you that you need to work out. So stay in there. Don't give others the satisfaction of seeing you quit, okay? And effectively train yourself to suffer
Mm.
quietly. Turn that suffering or that environmental feedback into something that keeps you there, keeps you with your hand on the
I was thinking
stove
about that. Yep. Yep.
until you retire. Just think about that. Think about that. Brother, you got out 3 years.
Yeah.
You had that moment at 3 years and you were at a place, and this is just native to your personality, right? But you were at a place where you were willing to risk it and say, I'm going to package up the dream, the
The
pre-planned
pre-planned one.
life,
Yeah. Hmm.
and I'm going to go in a new direction. 20 years. And I packaged up a bigger box with more responsibility,
Yeah.
more accountability to life and to family. And I'm now packaging that box and saying, man, I got to trust that going through this process now,
Yeah.
even 20 years in,
Yeah.
will still have material value for the life I have left.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, you went on that journey for 20 years. I went on mine for 20 years, right? You've you learned a lot. of different things.
I
You
did.
traveled in different places. Um, there was a perspective that you had while on that journey, that 20-year
Yes.
journey. Okay. Had I stayed within corporate America and did my thing there too, I'm not looking back. I'm not sure what I don't know what the path would have looked like and what would have been my motivation other than the money. And I'm not someone who came like grew up that way, but I know that turning point from 12th grade where people started asking, "What are you going to do in college?" And they said, "Computers. It pays a lot of money."
Mhm.
As a young child trying to make a adult decision, my peers were the one who were influencing that, and money became a thing, but it wasn't a thing. Okay,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
is something you got there,
I'm with you.
right?
I'm with you.
So as I watch you and you are now making a pivot, a hard pivot, and you're doing something different, you can reflect on all that you've learned over the past 20 years and now apply it onto this new journey. And it's going to come with its own set of things for you to work through. You've seen that already.
It does. However, I still feel the desensitization of the limb.
Can I say good for you? Like, it's good.
Sure. However, I am now preconditioned to be less agile
Mm,
because I don't have the sensitivity, the full sensitivity of my
mm,
limb. I'm preconditioned to stay in situations that are less than ideal now
mm.
because I have not taken the time to understand what I feel and be able to compartmentalize and prioritize it. You follow what I'm
I
saying there?
do. I do.
And that is an incredibly limiting thing that I'm having to recognize in myself.
Mm-hmm.
Even now in
Mm-hmm.
this entrepreneurial state where I'm running my own business, doing my own thing, and
Mm-hmm.
da-da-da, I'm having to say, James, if you're feeling something is not right or something's off, or your balance is off,
Yeah.
don't just grit it
Yeah.
and say, this is how it's supposed
Supposed
to
to
be.
feel. Yeah.
Starting a business is supposed to be hard. It's
Yeah.
supposed to require more of you, much
Yeah.
more than the normal situation would require. And it's not that it shouldn't. All those things can be true, but it's the examination of what I'm feeling and why I'm feeling it.
Yeah.
That is the true lessons and
Yeah.
growth.
Yeah.
Because if I'm gonna be able to trust all my fingers and
Yes.
toes and my mind, and I've got to reverse the impact that
Mm.
has been environmentally conditioned or placed on me.
Yep.
And again, I'm guilty, right?
Yep. Yep.
I'm the
Yep.
one that accepted it and said, push that stuff down.
Yep.
Don't be weak,
Yep.
James. Look at everything that's at your fingertips. Look at everything you've accomplished. Look at the number of promotions you're getting. And I want to come back around to it because I'm sure that there are people who are watching this who are looking at their particular situation, their particular title, their particular role,
Yeah.
and they're seeing promotion as the answer to this riddle.
Man.
They're seeing advancement through this lens um, of corporate society. I wouldn't even say corporate America because we have people who watch
Mm-hmm.
from even overseas.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Advancement. As the novocaine, as the dulling of the pain, as the fuel that pushes us past what is could be utter misery. It could be utter discontentment. It could be an utter lack of joy
Yeah.
and true feeling of accomplishment, which, spoiler alert, are the real goals of life.
100%.
Are the
100%.
real goals of
At least
life,
that's how I feel. That's how I feel.
right?
Yeah.
So there's a weird juxtaposition of this idea that safety and security, this idea of what I've created, is actually the spur of my misery and discontentment. My original plan, which may have manifest perfectly,
Mm-hmm.
is literally also what I am on my knees praying about, what keeps me up at night, what gives me ulcers, what It could be the same thing. And so within myself, I am warring within. And it's a race of the two halves of me and who's going to get to the finish line first. Man, one of our good friends, I won't call his name,
Sure.
has had a tremendous career. He is now really coming into his own, has just gotten another huge promotion. And he and I talk, and we talked not long ago, and he's asking me, hey, how are you doing? What's going on? And I was sharing with him.
Yep.
A little bit about my experience and how I found myself in this place. And I could hear in his tone,
Well, I'm curious.
just a deep, because what I was saying,
Mm-hmm.
there was a part of him, that other half,
Mm-hmm.
that was trying to connect. And over the years that he and I have talked, he's talked about, oh, I wish I could do this, or I want to go do this, I want to go start this and do this with my brother or family, da 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 da.
Yeah.
And none of those things have ever manifested.
Yeah.
What has manifested is this consistent, well laid out corporate career plan ladder that has now placed him in places, in environments and in rooms that most people will never see.
Sure.
And to think that all of that
Mm.
can be true. And my little old story, which continues to take
It's still
hard
evolving.
pivots,
Yeah. Yeah.
would get any other reaction for him than, man, I hope it works out
Mm.
for you. Like James, I really hope
Yeah.
things come back together.
Yeah.
Instead it's, man, James, man, I like, and you feel that other half of him trying to
Yep. Yep.
push through. And I've seen that time and time again. We have other friends that are the same. We have a good friend who is a surgeon, a neurosurgeon, has accomplished so much. And when he and I talk, right, it's a similar vibe. It's like,
Yeah.
man, I love what I do. I love being able to take care of patients. And you know, um, patient comes in with a problem, they can't walk, and they leave, and they're fully functioning. Pain has gone
Purposeful too,
away,
man. Yeah.
tumors have gone away,
Yeah.
but
I'll tell you one. I spoke with a buddy of mine. He's 8-figure business.
mm,
He's about to sell it,
mm,
and he says, Garen, he says, I'll say this to you. I wouldn't say this to my peers. He says, I don't know what I'm going to do next. I'm going to walk away with all this money. And he's like, maybe I'll run it back. Maybe I'll do it again, but just half the amount. I'm like, why? He's just like, I don't know. It's just like, I need something to stimulate me.
mm,
Maybe I'll give the money away to some kind of a charity, he says.
mm.
All of the things that typically people who have, they become philanthropists and they give away their money. But even in making that decision, he's still like, but I don't know what it is I want to do.
So, Garen, as you're talking and describing this, again, people watching this would
Mm-hmm.
say, that's insane. I'm chasing that.
Mm-hmm.
He got it and he's moving off that
Mm-hmm.
to chase something completely different. So, I've got my goal set on,
Ooh, but he's chasing that without clear direction.
oh, 100%. Because again, spoiler alert, the journey
Mm-hmm.
is
That's very
the
sad.
true
Yeah.
goal. Our goal is to get as far as we can in this journey,
Yep.
and then try from there to figure out what we manifest, what we're able to contribute to this larger society based on that journey.
I think while on that journey, we don't give ourselves credit or give life credit for all of the people that we're touching along the way and all the impact that we're making along the way. So, 5 years back to now, right? So COVID time up to now, you and I, we've touched so many different people in different ways.
Yeah.
And they have spawned on to do all kinds of really cool things. Like that, even if, James, if at this very moment we walked away and we had $0 in our pockets, there was value in those past 5 years.
100%.
But do we respect that though? Do we hold it sacred?
So I would say yes now. I would say more now so than before.
Okay.
And the reason is, Garen, is because we may never repeat those
Sure.
experiences. So for me, the value of that experience, even post
Mm-hmm.
experience, has gone up because I realized how special those moments
Mm-hmm.
were. I realized how impactful those experiences were. And I always have the ability to run the tape back,
Yep.
replay it, and extract more from it that will help me
For the
think and
next.
appreciate what's in the future.
Man.
So no one can take that from us. No one can rob you of the ability to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that it always keeps you pushing forward into what can be because you realize what's possible, right? So now as you look forward into the impossible, you know that there's at least a baseline of what you've accomplished
Yeah.
that is never going to sink you beyond a certain
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
again, the irony of it is none of that is financial.
100%.
It's not. It's it's here.
Okay, so pick this up. Pick this up. Take it back 20 years.
Yeah.
Fresh out of college.
Yeah.
Give it to me. So you are now taking this wisdom, this knowledge, and you're giving
Yeah.
it to your
Yeah.
21-year-old self.
Oh man. Oh
Do you
man.
accept it? Do you
No,
accept that
no,
journey?
no.
Mm,
I would consider myself whoever delivered that message, I would consider them to be a heretic because while they would be speaking to me,
yep.
they would be speaking to a part of me that was dormant at the time.
Yep. Yep.
It wouldn't, it might have like churned a little bit, but it wouldn't have been the part of me that would have pushed through at
You
the
said like,
time and
let's
say, yeah.
go.
Would I have stayed 20 years?
Mm,
Maybe not.
mm,
Maybe not. Um, but I would have also probably landed in a very similar place. And this is the irony of it all, Garen. If we are honest about the paths we take,
yeah.
yes, there's some things we would do and do different.
Yep.
There's some things we wouldn't do, maybe hurt few less people,
Yep. For
this, that,
sure.
and the other, right? But at the end of the day, the evolution that we've experienced in times and scenarios that has forced us to grow. It has pushed us to evolve at a pace. So more knowledge earlier doesn't necessarily equal more wisdom later,
Sure. Yes. I agree. I agree.
right?
Yep.
Um, I always consider myself a person who would latch on to like random facts and subject matters. I loved astronomy
Mm,
in school. I loved physics in school, although I hated math. I love physics, right? Just random things. And as I reflect back on even my mental development, I recognize that while I experienced and encountered a lot, my wisdom has only bloomed through the darkest moments of my life.
mm.
So as you go back and try to tell yourself 20 plus years ago how this plays out, what would it look like avoiding those dark moments? What would you be avoiding those dark moments? It's something to think about.
It is. And I could say for me, I would have avoided it because I was already avoiding a lot of things. Just
Mm,
just my own personality,
yeah.
what I was dealing with. I was avoiding a lot of things, man. So I wouldn't have accepted this as as my calling or as the journey for me to be on. It was a
But
different.
but Karen, so if let's have an honest moment with the
Sure,
audience.
sure.
What are we actually accepting?
Like now,
Yeah.
brother?
What have we accepted? So let's put a tag on it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like if we want the audience to say, okay, these guys are talking around real abstract
yeah.
points. Um,
And you said it. It's the journey, right? But I'm accepting the process, the
mm,
maturation that will come through these decisions that I've made. So even if I said I want to be a clay pot maker,
yeah.
there would be something that I would go on. There would be a process that I would experience going after that. And I am saying the process was going to happen any which way. I'm just choosing to work it through being a clay pot maker.
How does accepting the journey pay the bills?
I have paid the bills going after things that I wanted, and I've paid Mm. The bills have been paid while I've been going after things that I wanted, and when not. The bills have been paid somehow.
Right.
There is a part of me, and I recognize it, man, where when I felt that I was the catalyst to making sure the bills were being paid, I was, I use this loosely, I was a little bit more arrogant in paying the bills. Paid, paid, authorized, go for it.
The day before it's due, paid.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
just paid, right?
Mm.
When things weren't that great, it's like, oh God, God, help me pay this bill. And I realized the man that I am in those moments, man, where my wife walks in the room and I'm on my knees, or I'm in the restroom sitting on the side of the tub, um, just like this, just contemplating, quiet. She comes in, she sees me, little tap on my shoulder, and just keeps on moving, does her
Yep.
thing.
Yep.
I'm a different guy, and I see myself like in a mirror. I see myself being that guy who is submitting to the process. Oh,
Are both experiences necessary? Are both versions necessary?
well, it gives me something to reflect
Because this conversation will keep a lot
on.
of people in their misery. They don't want to have the second version.
Man, but
And
it's
whatever lesson you learn,
yeah,
whatever magic lesson
yeah.
you learned that led you to this chair today, talking to this camera
like
today,
I'll take that through
I'll
you.
forego that.
Yeah. I
Thank
get it.
you. Thank you for the pro tip. I will stay over
Oh,
here with my salary every week or every two
yeah,
weeks.
yeah, yeah. And I guess, it goes back to the journey that you choose your hard, right? And we've said this in some other episodes, man. Like
Mm.
choose your hard. Like, what do you want to learn? What do you want? Like, do you want to be my mother who had a very successful career? She's making more money now in retirement than she was when she was working.
Yeah, yeah.
But man, I wish I had that experience, son. What would she have given up to have that experience? I don't know. But in her later years, and she's in her 80s, and we still have these conversations, she's like, that's a different perspective, son. I never thought about it that way. So if I go through this process, man, and I can have a conversation with my mother who's still alive, thankfully, and then have the same conversation with my children,
Mm.
bridge that gap and say like, hey, there's a path.
Yeah.
Go for it. Right? I've done, even in this moment, James, I've done what I was supposed to do in this moment.
Yeah.
Abundance. And it's not filling the pockets, but abundance.
It's filling the soul.
Filling the soul.
So I went practical there in the conversation on purpose
Okay.
because I want to make sure the audience feels connected to what we're actually saying. And what we're saying is we're disconnecting purposefully from a path that leads to a place of unfulfillment.
Yeah. Yes.
And we are taking an educated chance on life continuing to produce what's required in the natural, right? In the needed, in the life bills and the requirements of life. And while the perceptions externally in and even internally out may not be as consistent,
Yeah.
the filling of our soul, the wisdom, and everything that comes with it somehow smooths it out in reflection. You get a week past one of these moments where the bill, you think of it very differently because you survived another week.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you have the appreciation and the ability to turn and transform those moments into wisdom, fuel, motivation, whatever, in short bursts, you've accomplished something in your resolve, in your resilience, all the things that are so important to our development. And it only comes when you go through some things that are pushing on the comfort zones of your life and of your personal development.
Yes.
And for some, that may not be financial. It may be their children. It may be their marriage. It may be something they got themselves into. It could be issues from the past as a child unresolved.
Hmm.
There's something in your life that is trying to get your attention, to take you on a journey that will guide you to a place of fulfillment that transcends the plan. So if I'm in 20, 30 plus years and I'm not sure how to accept or get on what you guys are talking about, I have no idea. There's nobody knocking at my door saying red pill, blue pill.
Yep.
Say this
No.
isn't the Matrix.
No.
What I just said should be the beginning of that journey to find out exactly what we're trying to do.
Yep.
I'm going to read you another quote. I think that connects with this point. You can spend your whole life climbing the ladder of success only to find that it's leaning against the wrong wall. That's a Stephen Covey quote. I'll read it again. You can spend your whole life climbing the ladder of success only to find that it's leaning against the wrong wall. We talked a little bit ago about, our conversations with some of our friends who've accomplished so much.
Yeah.
And they have climbed, man. They have climbed successfully. I believe I climbed successfully. And knowing when I did that it was the wrong wall
Mm.
after 20 years of climbing is a sobering experience.
Mm.
To leave that 20 years with almost no joy, only relief. Think about that.
Yeah, yeah. I'm listening to your words, man.
No joy,
Yeah.
only relief is it's a sobering moment.
Mm.
There's not a day I wake up I miss my old life.
Wow. Wow.
Not a day.
Wow.
And everything that came with it, I don't miss it. That box is packed. Tate, don't miss it. If anything wells up in me, it's uncertainty trying to root, but it is what it is. It's uncertainty trying to get a foothold.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. For someone like myself who can look over my 20 years of experiences and say, man, look at that. Look at that. And you've been around for quite a bit of those. Look at that, right?
Hmm.
Now I can look back and say, like, look at that. But in the
Hmm.
moment, it was like, James,
Yeah.
like, yo. And you say what you just said, which tells me again, I mean, I'm not ignorant to this, but it just puts it in perspective that there are many people out there right now who would pack up that box and say, I don't miss any of it.
If they had clarity on that first step, they would run. Not run one step, but they would trust that the second step would manifest itself. They're just trying to figure out that first step.
Yeah, 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 yes, yes. There's, and you're going through it right now, and I'm going through it right now because I'm making some pivots within my life also,
Hmm.
right? Of that uncertainty, even though you have 20 years of experience,
Yeah. 20 years of experience in uncertainty.
right? I didn't look at it that way, but it's good. This is good for me too, man, to hear that, even like hear these words because it'll give me just a different perspective to handle just this upcoming week, the uncertainty of this upcoming week. Garen, you've had hundreds of upcoming weeks
Mm,
that you have somehow made it through. Why are you now questioning this one?
yeah.
It's but it's the process, James. It's ongoing. There's no end to this journey unless you decide to suppress everything else that's coming. By that time, I mean you've
But
actually
you,
tapped
but
out
you,
on life.
but here's the reality, and it's the raw reality of life. You cannot suppress what is meant for you. It will
Mm,
find you no matter what. Right now, at the time this video is being recorded in the United States, there's a lot of uncertainty for people who have had some of the most certain careers in government employees.
yeah.
Um, a number have lost their jobs. They're going into a period of, okay, what am I going to do now? And many chose that life because of the certainty.
Hmm.
I work my years, I go in every day, I've got a good pension. Life is very predictable. I don't worry about this part of life. Yeah, there's some things I can focus on, but this part of life is stable. And to wake up and see, and this isn't a political statement, but to wake up and see, to see and know
Yeah.
that you are now in a period of forced instability where you've not practiced, rehearsed. This is not where your strength and resilience and muscles lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a sobering thing. And that same reality will show up in the life and will continue to show up in the lives of people, whether they want to or want to experience it or not. So that's why I said a few minutes ago, there are things in your universe that are trying to get your attention to help you transform the way you think about what's most important.
Hmm. Hmm.
And until you take the time to answer those calls, create the internal vulnerability to go down those roads, your ability to experience the greater part of you, the stronger part of you, the 2.0 version of you
Yeah.
will continue to be subdued.
Yeah.
And to say that there's more joy there is an understatement because it may not change some of the pillars of what you have today, but you'll enjoy it more. You'll be connected to it more. You'll appreciate it
Yes.
more,
Yes.
right? Um, and if that's the only thing you get out of it, was it worth it? Absolutely. Because it gave a new perspective to an old theme, to an old story. We're clear. We talk about this often. Most people are not cut out for what you and I deal with. They're not. It would be unfair to assume that the average person would go through what you and I have been through. Um, but it doesn't stop us from recognizing that it puts us in this chair. It allows us to have this conversation with authenticity.
Hmm.
It has created the human ROI. It
Hmm.
wrote a book,
Hmm.
right? It gave me a network to launch a business from
Hmm.
that has literally taken me around the world and continues to draw me there. It has put roofs over our heads, food in our stomach. It has allowed us to see things that we never probably had grown up would have even thought we wanted to see.
Yep.
So for us to look at it and think anything other than man, whew, there's a healthy appreciation and respect. But we're also clear that going forward, none of that is promised.
Mm-mm.
And the goals we set are now continuing the journey, learning as much as I can, adding to my wisdom every single day, and becoming more resilient, more grounded, more appreciative, more useful
Yeah.
to the environment
Around us.
and
Yep.
circles we run in.
Yep.
And that comes because we give ourselves the opportunity to experience it authentically.
Yep. 100%.
So,
Mm.
as we wrap up the episode, I hope first and foremost you've gone on this journey with us to really reflect on how your journey started and the goals you set, the measures of success that you set, how that has transformed through your life. And for some that may be a little younger watching this, you may be like, what are you guys talking about? And if that's what I'm going to experience, I'm getting off this train
I hear you.
sooner than
I
later.
hear you. I hear you.
But recognizing that we all have lived life that has taught us things that we've wanted to learn and we've not wanted to learn. And hopefully your takeaway from this is the reprioritization and the simplification of what's most important will transform into a new path and a new direction for you that will start your journey of fulfillment. It's not about how many books you read, but I'm not saying books are bad, but it's about the life you live. It's about turning the words you may consume or the experiences you may consume into something that is useful and tangible within you that you can draw from no matter if the sun is up or the sun is down, no matter if you're financially stable or financially unstable, no matter if you're healthy or you're suffering with a terminal illness. What we're talking about are things that apply in every season of life and are incredibly important to how your story plays out and not only how you show up to yourself and your significant others, but the legacy that you leave in terms of a life well lived. Thank you for tuning into episode 1 of the Where Are You Going series.
Yeah.
There will be more conversations coming. We have some special guests coming in. We're going to change up the format
Yeah. Yeah.
and record some Zooms. It'll be different, but it will be as impactful. And I truly hope that you start your process of just jotting down some things where you feel life is knocking at the door. Comment and share a thought or two below the video as you watch and you absorb it, of what you feel comfortable sharing. Share, because we'd love to create a conversation about this transformational experience of how we started and the direction we were on to where we are, and recognizing the true value of the life we're living.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. We appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
The growth mindset again is here to bring these conversations to you in a truly authentic manner. Please go out and check out the Human ROI. Which, Karen, where can they find the link to
We'll put it
the?
in the video.
We'll put it. All right. We'll
Yeah.
drop it in the video.
Yeah.
Also, Garen's book, which you can pick up on Amazon. Please do that. We'll put that link there as well. And let's continue on this journey together. Have a wonderful day.